Is it Kenji? Hi, Kenji. Are you ready to go? All right, it is 5:30, and I would like to call this meeting to order, please. This is the regular session of the January 27th, 2026 Oshtemo Charter Township meeting. We'll call this meeting to order, and I invite you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we have item 3, which is remote location identification. You see this evening, the treasurer, Lushka, is not with us. She is on vacation in a lovely place that I'm sure we all wish we were, but she will not be joining us remotely, nor is that a reason for an ability to vote. Next, we have item 4, which is the township mission, vision, and core values. I invite a member of this body to share a township core value.
I will do that. Providing the best value-conscious technology currently available.
Thank you, Trustee Chapman. Next, we move to approval of the agenda, and I do want to make a couple of amendments to the agenda, if I might, please. I'd like to switch items 9 and 10 so that the job descriptions come before the topics for board discussion that are, just conversation and project updates. So I'd like to flip those two things around. And then under topics for board discussion, I'd like to also put the red med box presentation ahead of the holiday event because we have a staff person here who will be making that presentation that won't need to stay after the fact. So if there's any questions on that, I'd be happy to answer. Otherwise, I'd be ready for a motion. Oh, yes, and public comment, although it states estimated at 6:45, we'll still do public comment twice this evening, but I'm going to strike the estimated 6:45 p.m. Because that first public comment is very likely going to come before that since we don't have a work session this evening.
I would like to add one item to the consent agenda. I noticed that we didn't approve the meeting minutes from the 12/23/2025 meeting. We did the earlier ones, but we didn't do that when they came out, I think, kind of late, and so we never actually approved them. So I'd like to add that.
Hold on, so the meeting minutes from the December 23rd
Right.
need to be, okay, let me open that packet real
Yeah,
quick if
go
you
for
don't
it.
mind.
No problem.
That would be the first January meeting, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we approved the ones from 12/9, I think it was, or at the first January meeting.
If you don't mind, I think we could just put it on the consent agenda for the next meeting so that the link to the minutes is on the agenda. Or do you want to just go ahead and?
Ask the clerk. I remember you sent out an email
We approved
late.
the December 9 minutes at the December 20, sorry. We approved the December 9 minutes at the December 23rd meeting. We approved the December 23 minutes at the January 13th meeting.
Are they in there?
I don't think so. Well, anyway, we can come back to it.
Well, we can sort it out. It don't want to take a second.
You're right, it's not on that consent agenda. It was just December 9.
Yeah.
So we need the December 23rd meeting minutes.
Okay.
Let's just approve them we've all seen them at this
Yeah.
meeting. And
Okay,
now we don't
if
have to
you're
worry
comfortable
about
with that, that's
coming
fine.
back to something
Okay.
farther on.
So to the consent agenda, we need to add the minutes from
Regular meeting of
December
12.
23rd.
12/23/25. Thank you.
Yep, and with that, I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda with the revisions that were stated.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Sikora, a second by trustee Ford. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay. Motion approves, 6 yeas with 1 absent. Now we're at item 6, public officials and community partner updates. See, we have our stalwart representative from the Road Commission of Kalamazoo County. Did you have anything you wanted to share with the board this evening?
Good formally anyway. Larry Stahauer, I'm your liaison commissioner, Road Commission, Kalamazoo County. Appreciated seeing several of you virtually attending our board meeting today, so you heard about our road funding situation, meaning money's coming but not in hand. And as the transition occurred from our prior fiscal year, 2025, we have a 1.2 million anticipated of MTF. That's not coming due to the reconfiguring the gas tax. We understand that'll get made up down the road. We had some good write-ups in our CRA newsletter, came out yesterday. If you're interested in how road funding work, or the new funding's supposed to work, there's a lot of uncertainty when it will arrive. Maybe some of it pieces, maybe even if it will arrive. And sometimes there's things that are to be funded before the money comes to road commissions, cities and villages. So anyway, I don't need to take more of your time. We're working, trying to understand that, and we're trying to preserve what you might call a status quo, trying to fund things to the level we have in the past, like the PAR Fund program, and hope to do better and more in 2027.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for Mr. Stahauer? No, I just want to share with the board that the road commission right now, and Anna, you spoke eloquently to it at the board meeting, but the pathway to this additional road funding is not clear, and so road commissions are kind of having to pivot to plan for best case scenario, worst case scenario. So I think it's a little unclear still when and how much extra projects or more projects we'll be able to do, so. I felt for Mark and Travis today.
I think this came about late November, early December. We put off doing our annual budget until late December. That's not our norm. But we decided to go with similar to 2025 for 2026. We have pretty good certainty of the funds we should have in that situation. So we can pretty confidently say, hey, we can allocate the same money for PAR funds. Actually, we did a little bit more. We run some reserve, by memory, 35% of our annual budget. So we had a little bit of cushion there we could use to make up some shortfall from last year in terms of MTF funds that aren't coming. We're hopeful we'll see that come maybe later in the year as some of this gets sorted out. But we're trying to have a year here, even though there's uncertainty from township, local road projects, that you can do what you've been accustomed to. So we thank you for what you try to do there, or will try to do there. So.
Thanks, Larry. I also appreciated the managing director announced our joint meeting on April 4th.
Correct.
And there's a call, and I'll work with Travis and the board and the staff to put together items that you want to discuss at that joint meeting. So it's not our intention to take anybody by surprise, so that everybody
Good.
can come to that meeting prepared.
Yeah. that's early April, April 4, if I remember right, and you're coming our way maybe, so that would be great.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks. Is there anyone else present this evening from a community partner organization or, I don't see any of our elected officials present in the audience wishing? No? Okay. We'll close item 7 and, no, we'll close item 6 and we'll move to item 7. So this is going to be our first opportunity for public comment. As a reminder, the policy for public comment is found on the back of the agenda, and I'm going to steer you towards the last statement. Public comment shall not be repetitive, slanderous, abusive, threatening, boisterous, or contrary to the orderly conduct of business. The supervisor or the chairperson of the meeting shall terminate any public comment which does not follow these guidelines. So we certainly appreciate folks that are here to provide public comment and adhere to the policy that's been in place probably for decades. You're all aware, public comment, you have 4 minutes to come to the podium. It is not a dialogue with questions back and forth at the board for anyone that's here that's new. And I welcome anyone who wishes to come forward. No public comment at this time? There'll be a second option at the end of the meeting, but. Oh, excellent. Welcome. You're in the meeting, Mr. Morrison. Can you, I'm not sure if we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Oh,
Can you hear
okay.
me?
Yep, go ahead.
Good. All right, thank you. I know that there's been a lot of discussion about the battery storage facility. What my comments tonight will address is looking at a bigger picture on this issue. One thing I think we need to do is to look at alternatives to fossil fuels and look at investing in renewable energy sources that do not harm our health or natural resources. So I think one thing that we should be doing is to investigate local renewable energy sources as an alternative to private utilities and fossil fuels, because those are really part of a larger system that we have to pay for and keep paying for. And if it's not going to be very renewable or healthy, it's really a system that maybe we should think about alternatives to. Examples of that could be community solar and small-scale wind and solar. I know there are a lot of issues surrounding that, but I think it's worth for us to investigate that. When communities own the energy production and sources, it's proven that they have smaller heating bills and cooling bills. So one suggestion I have for the trustees is that perhaps establishing an environment committee or a working group that could provide research assistance, education, and community experts to provide input to the planning committee, not only on the BESS issue, but on others as well, because data centers and the utilities, it's all one a big, larger system that we have to deal with. And I think that would be very useful. Kalamazoo has an environmental concerns committee that also serves as a citizens forum for these environmental issues. So a working group, I think, could provide a lot of expertise. And they had to postpone last week's meeting, so I'm going to bring this to them as well. And I'm glad that they're bringing in state reps who can talk to us about the BESS issue from the state perspective. But we also need to bring in a lot more for that. Community members, chemical engineers, and environmental scientists to discuss that. And I think we could do that for the broader issues. I think the Master Plan 2045 is a good model for us because they used a large number of thought leaders. I wasn't here in the state for that, but that to me, there's so many different thought leaders who could contribute meaningfully. And that way you wouldn't have to have, time like this used up for that. And that's a committee that I would love to volunteer for. So those are my comments for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Is there anyone else present wishing to make public comment at this time? No? Okay, well then I will close this public comment time. We'll move to item 8, which is the consent agenda. Our consent agenda includes the meeting minutes from the regular meeting of January 13th, 2026, and the meeting minutes of the regular meeting from 12/23/25.
I would like to request a change to the minutes for the January 13th meeting,
Okay.
which reflects my absenteeism. I would like it to reflect that I was remote and unable to participate due to the Zoom platform being down. I spent well over an hour trying to talk to Sherry via text and figure out why I couldn't get on the platform and nobody else could. And it was very frustrating because I had a lot of things that I wanted to say, which I planned to say during board member comments. But I would like that reflected in the minutes, please.
Clerk, can you make that change?
Yeah.
And with that change, I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
A motion by trustee Cole and support by trustee Ford. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
That was support by trustee Chapman.
Chapman.
Oops, sorry, yeah. I didn't mean to take credit for that, sorry.
We look alike.
Do my best to hear out of the left and right at both times.
Oh, and I also just want to say, I was not here for medical reasons, and for the same reasons, you may see me standing from time to time, although without jinxing this, I don't think we're going to be here too late, but you may see me standing, and that's why, not just being weird.
That's very good. Okay, next, we're going to move to job descriptions. The former item 10 is now item 9, and David, our operations coordinator, is going to set up the computer so that we can bring those documents online so folks can see them online and on the screen. So thank you, David, for taking care of that. So give us a minute while he gets that ready. And looks like we're starting with the driver operator position. And our HR director, Sarah Feaster, is with us online, and she will introduce these items. Sarah, if you need the screen moved, just say so, and David will be able to hear you and adjust the screen.
Okay, thanks, Sherry. I hope everybody can hear me okay.
Yep, just fine.
Good evening. All right, great. So the first item is the driver operator job description. This is in response to the new union contract that we signed effective 2026 to 2028. There is a firefighter job description and a driver operator job description. Currently, all of our current firefighters are driver operators, so this job description was created so we have more of an entry-level position and then the higher-level driver operator position. So this is just kind of cleaning up that parts of the CBA that we hadn't quite gotten to yet. And then the second job description before you is a revision to the finance manager job description. We did a little more research and evaluating the needs of the township, looked into what other municipalities were doing for finance coverage, and therefore we had decided that we would change the title of this job to accountant rather than finance manager. And so the red line that you have here before you is in response to changing that to the accountant, and then we did a slight reevaluation of duties just to meet the needs. So those are the two job descriptions you have.
Okay, let's take one at a time. Are there any questions for Sarah regarding the driver operator job description? And I think we knew this was coming when we talked about the updates to the CBA, so not that I expect you to remember all of those details, but there's no questions? Okay, let's take the second one then, and the changes from the finance manager after Dusty, Claire, and I with the HR director in the HR board work group. I mean, we updated you on the progress that we tried to make the first time around. We went back. At Sarah's recommendation, it was really digging back into the job description to see if we could get applicants that were, make the job not only more fit the needs of the township, so we evaluated the duties, and then, but also hoping that bringing in, changing the title to the accountant will get us a new slate of applicants that would be interested in the job. We did update, and this was some discussion in that job description, the qualifications. And this was, Dusty, I mean, I think this was something that you really were, you brought to the table as far as really looking for somebody that follows the general accounting standards, the Gadsby standards, and putting that in the job description.
Yes.
Can you,
I think that was an important addition, and the right applicant will know what that means, where it was absent from our previous job description. But we would expect the applicant to know what this means so that they could follow the standards that other governments follow.
so of the applicants that we interviewed the first time we posted this position, I think one of the 6 knew what Gatsby was.
Yeah.
And so that was clearly a hole, because I think the learning curve would be longer for somebody that had to be brought into what those standards are. Not that people can't learn it, but it would be more advantageous for the township to have someone already be familiar with those accounting standards.
I agree.
So with that, are there any questions for Sarah?
Yeah, just one. With the change in qualifications and job function, does it go in a different place in the salary schedule?
That's a great question, Neil. I think that when we estimated and budgeted for this position, we really used the job duties when placing someone in a salary structure. So I think we're still aligned with what we budgeted for and projected for this position.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the HR director on these 2 positions? Okay, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
At this time, before we go into board deliberation, is there anyone in the public wishing to make comment regarding the driver-operator position for the fire department and the update to the accountant position? No public comment? All right, I'll close public comment on that, and we can move forward with board conversation.
Did you want to move these separately or together?
I don't see any reason why they couldn't be, if they're named in the motion, why we couldn't move them together. But
I would make a motion to approve the fire department driver-operator job description and the accountant job description.
Support.
a motion by Clerk Farmer and support by by Trustee Cole.
The struggle bus today. Yes.
I'm going to write everybody's name down on my paper. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6 with 1 absent. All right, thank you. Thank you, Sarah, for the work. I'm looking forward to particularly moving forward with that accountant position. We need to bring that talent in-house. Next, we'll move to item number 9, which is, so I've been putting topics for discussion on the last couple of agendas. So there's lots of projects that are going on in-house. I think I brought up the desire, if anyone was interested, taking a look at our burn ordinance, and our Scott Fuller put a lot of work into, he's going to be bringing a presentation to the board in February about what the status is of our burn ordinance, as well as what other communities are. So before we turn people loose on doing more work, we want to make sure that they're headed in the direction that we want to see. So this is the red med box. We're going to go with that next. Our operations coordinator, David, will be presenting this. He frankly did all the research and put all this together, so welcome him. This is his first board presentation, so congratulations.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
Gonna embarrass you a little bit.
Okay. Okay, hello, everyone. For the audience, I'm David Cobb, Operations Coordinator for the Township. I'm going to talk to you about a project I've been working on recently. It's a red med box. For those of you who are not aware, the Sheriff's Department, along with the Household Hazardous Community Waste Center, which I might have slightly wrong in that order of words, works in collaboration to have these physical boxes that collect medication from community drop-off and then disposes of it properly. So I'm just going to give you some details about this, and I'll let you decide if you want us to continue pursuing getting one of these boxes installed at the Township Hall. So there are 2 key benefits for the red med boxes. One is public safety. There's a lot of abuse of medication, as I'm sure most of us are aware, and also just accidental taking of expired medication. And so having a safe place to drop off this medication is just a public safety matter. And having these boxes located in several different areas throughout the county just makes it more convenient for people to utilize them, making it more likely that medications are disposed of properly. The other key benefit is environmental. Having medication that is flushed down toilets or drains, put down drains, or thrown away can potentially pollute our water system and our soil. So keeping those drugs out of those 2 environmental aspects is equally important as well. The household hazardous, actually I wrote it down because I knew I was going to forget how it goes. The Kalamazoo County Household Hazardous Waste Center, which I think I actually got right, incinerates the donations, or the donations is probably not the right word, the medication that is dropped off in the med boxes throughout the county. They take all sorts of medications, from prescriptions to over-the-counter medication, pet medications. They take liquids in appropriate containers, unopened EpiPens. They do not take some other materials such as soiled materials, bloody materials, or doctor syringes. That's what they're called. Thank you. It's a really simple process for the community to use. They simply come in during open hours. Our ideal location is to have it in our lobby here. They come in, they see the box, they put the items in the box, and then they leave. No questions asked, no hassle from our staff or anything like that. And again, having additional locations besides the few that are currently available just makes it more convenient for every resident in the township and the county at large. As I just mentioned, we want to have this located in the lobby of Township Hall. The idea behind this is because the lobby is visible to township staff during open office or during open hours. We have multiple employees who will have visual line of sight of the drop-off, which is important because other locations have had instances of a filled box and people that drop off additional materials leave it beside the box because it's filled. So you need to have somebody who can see when that might be happening and say, hey, sorry, right now you can't drop it off until it's emptied and available. So you do need line of sight, which the location in the lobby would have. We have security cameras, multiple security cameras in the lobby, so we can make sure that it's under security surveillance as well. And then the lobby is access controlled so that when we are not open, the doors are locked and nobody can access the drop box. The cost for the township, we're estimating around $7,000 for the fabrication of the box. It has to be custom fabricated to fit the exact dimensions that the program requires. A recent fabrication was a little bit under $7,000. That is the fabrication of the box, the painting, adding the appropriate labels, and also installation. It has to be attached to either the wall or the floor to keep it secure. The ongoing costs are really minimal because this program is run through the Household Hazardous Waste Center and the Sheriff's Department. Much of the ongoing cost is covered from their budgets. Really, even the $7,000 probably is not going to come from the township coffers because we have a settlement from the opioid settlement that can cover that cost. And then the only other ongoing cost is just the boxes have cardboard boxes and then bags within them, and the sheriff's deputies come and remove the cardboard boxes along with the inner lining and then take them to the hazardous waste center where it's all incinerated. Very minimal time and attention from our staff even, just as needed to ensure that businesses aren't dropping off materials like doctor's offices. It's meant for residents, not for businesses. Then also just, to notify the sheriffs when they see that it's full to come and pick it up. So I recommend that we move forward with this project. As I just got done saying, it's not going to cost us much of anything extra. We already have the grant fundings or the settlement fundings. It's a nice partnership with the Sheriff's Office as well as the Hazardous Waste Center, who do really, honestly, the majority of the heavy lifting with this project. And it's a really valuable resource for the community. It's really just win-win-win across the board. I can't think of much in the way of downsides. Next step, we do have to give final approval from the sheriff of his location. He's a very busy person, and he sent me an email that I responded to just recently, and I think we're really close to having that final approval, but technically haven't gotten there yet. And then after that is secured, we do the order of the fabrication and installation, which will take some time because it has to be custom made. And then minimal training for front desk staff, so they know what to look for and they know what to be aware of in terms of the box and its security. And then just ongoing collaboration with the partners on the project. That's it.
Thank you, David. At this time, are there any questions for David regarding the red med box? I think one other, how did this, I think you know the answer, so that's why I'm asking you. How did this come to our awareness to the supervisor's office?
I don't recall.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. This came up because, so we have these opioid settlement dollars. It's not a ton. I believe we have about $65,000 in opioid settlement dollars. The last I talked to the treasurer. But the fire chief, you can spend that money on certain things, and the fire chief found this as one project that was appropriate for use of those funds. And come to find out, a lot of people stop by the fire department asking if they can drop their medication off there. So we thought that this was worthwhile. But before we, move forward and execute, we want to give you all an opportunity to see what has progressed and weigh in.
Go ahead, trustee Chapman, sorry.
So it's a wonderful plan, and we did this in Calhoun County with some partners at my previous employment. It was very successful. A danger that lurks in everybody's house is expired medications, and medications somebody didn't complete. Many medications, it only takes a child one tablet. Something as simple as blood pressure medication, calcium channel blocker, one tablet is enough to kill a kid. Having a safe place to put it is difficult to find. You can't just take it to a pharmacy, they can't accept it. So this is a significant problem. Previously, we told people to put it in with coffee grounds in the trash. We find many of the substances are in groundwater, they're in rivers. So this is an absolute wonderful way to deal with it. That worked well in Calhoun County. That's been going on for years. The only one question I would have, and I understand completely why you picked the location, I would almost ask if we could put it right at the entrance. And I know the concern, but if we have cameras there, that might make it more usable for somebody who might not necessarily want to be seen or identified. And it may make it just a little quicker and perhaps allow more use. That's what they did at the Sheriff's Department in Calhoun County in Marshall. It's right as you walk in the door, so if you put in the door here, having a camera on usually would be enough, but that would allow citizens who come to meetings like this or something else to have access to that. So that would be the only other thing I would say to consider.
Yeah, this is a great point, and it was one of the locations we did consider. The only aspect that the lobby has over being in the hallway is the line of sight of live staff. We looked from the lobby, the front desk area down the hallway to see, what the staff would be able to see. And it wasn't a whole lot of that hallway, so that's why we wound up having the lobby as the favorite location. But we're happy to revisit if ultimately the sheriff's department has to approve it, and so the sheriff will be the final decider upon the location, but we can certainly pitch that as well.
Yeah, and for any citizen concerned, it's not like an open box. It's very much like our boxes out there. It is secured. It's very difficult to get things out. I'm not going to say impossible. I'm sure if my children are listening, they would find a way to get something out of anything. But for the most part, you can't. It would take a lot of work and effort in order to do that. So I would propose, at least proposing both options to see, because I wouldn't see that as being a significant risk, but I do think it would be enhance the potential community benefit.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I agree, and we also, KDPS put one in the headquarters lobby several years before I retired, and there were people dropping stuff off all the time. It was very successful, so I hadn't even thought, I always thought about, the pills getting flushed or, ending up in the groundwater, but I never really thought about them falling into kids' hands, which is crazy because I've seen that too before, but yeah, we saw a lot of senior citizens dropping off medications, and I think that's a vulnerable target for teenagers to look for opioids and things of that nature, so, yeah.
Okay, I've got one question that's not specifically related to this. I support the program. Do we accept sharps from the public here?
Not from,
Sharps.
well,
There-
in
there's
the
sharps that can use
restrooms
in
there
the
are.
restrooms.
Just in the restrooms?
Yeah.
Would it be possible to incorporate sharps disposal with this program and use those opioid funds?
We can ask.
Yeah, maybe Dr.
The
Chapman.
the concern would be, and we'd have to get the technicality, but regulated medical waste has to go to specific incinerators, and there's a price per pound. So I don't know if our hazardous waste facility handles that. We could ask.
Okay.
At the same time, I would also ask for sharps by our park, a sharps
Yes.
container.
Yep. absolutely for that.
Are they permitted in open public spaces like that?
Just a regular sharps in the bathroom could help prevent some problems.
Yeah.
Oh, I will. I'm not sure if we have them in the bathrooms or not. We do not, okay.
I think it would be a nice add to round out the service, so just a comment, I support the program.
Great, and I can certainly look into that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great program. I've looked, if you've ever had an elderly parent or whatever who's passed away and you're going through their medicine cabinet or whatever, and you're wondering, what do you do with all these things? It is a hard decision to figure out what do you do with them, and there's not a lot of places to dispose of things like that. So I think that's a great thing. The other one I just would comment on, I was going through my winter supply or whatever, looking at all my cough medicines and everything else that I have, and was thankful that none of them had been opened. I've had a good year, but I also noticed that they'd all expired.
Yes.
And so it's like, well, what do I do with all these? They're not even open, let alone having been used. And I don't typically think of over-the-counter meds as also being something that you would put into these. I always think of prescription medications as being a big worry. So I think that'd be helpful in letting people know just the basic stuff like over-the-counter, because that's easy to, oh, I didn't finish this cough syrup, I'll just pour it down the drain or whatever, stuff like that. And that's, we'd like to try to do as much as we can to stop that. So great idea, glad you brought it forward.
If we moved forward on this, would there be something in our quarterly newsletter detailing exactly what could not, or where it is if we did go forward and when
Yeah.
the go-live date was?
Absolutely.
We'll do a press release from Media and Communications too,
Put it on the website.
and the yeah, all the things.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is a great expenditure of the opioid settlement dollars. It's absolutely appropriate. We had internal discussions about what to do with that money, and this is a really positive option.
Yeah, and thanks to the fire chief for lifting it up. I mean, he was the one combing through the book of approved expenditures of those dollars. All right, so I think what I'm hearing is we have support for the program. We will work on getting the location. We'll ask the question about the entrance, Michael. I'm not sure so it will be up to him whether camera only is sufficient. So, but we'll ask that question. We'll also expand the research on what we can do around sharps. But I would appreciate if we could bring that forward when we have more information and go ahead and charge us with moving forward on this. It just so happens the sheriff is going to be in my presence on February 4th, so I will pin him down on that day for a location, so we'll be able to get that feedback. So I think what would be next is we will tidy up the last few details, and we'll bring this back memoed with a budget amendment request to get the box purchased and in process. Okay. Thank you, David. Good conversation. Gotta find my agenda. Okay, next, says holiday event. So internally, I'm not sure it's, other than, I think trustee Sikora brought it up at a board meeting last year, well, definitely last year, I just don't remember when it was, about a tree lighting ceremony. And what had been an idea and had some budgeted funds for Blue Line to do a community event around the holiday time around a tree lighting. We took trustee Sikora, we've wanted to make this happen because I think it would be a really fun activity. We now, our Parks Department and our Maintenance Department have more staff, so we can think about adding another event. But I provided you the meeting minutes, and I don't want to dive into them line by line, but we did form an internal work group committee that, get my pages in order here, that consisted of the Parks Department, Planning Department, David's leading this project, our media and communications, our maintenance department, our fire department, two of our fire department members. And this was kind of, you know, the thought of who we thought would be involved in launching something like a community event, like a tree lighting ceremony. And I think one thing I want to, for sure, is item number 3, the location discussion. And the committee has actually met twice, I believe. We had a introductory meeting, and then David took it from there and really put some meat on the bones. So the discussion was Township Hall, you know, a location, what the pluses and minuses were there. Flesher Field, having it out at Flesher Field. We actually had a site visit at the corner of 9th and Stadium, and even though I think that would be such a great location, and maybe we can just plant a tree that will get bigger there, you know, but it really is not, and the church was willing to work with us, but it really, that intersection is just too dangerous, so, Drake Farmstead, we do not plow Drake Farmstead at this time, because it's a dirt driveway, and so the location consideration was that from the work group, that they thought that would be eliminated. And I guess what I want to plate this up a little bit better, that I think the committee's desire is to get this going this year. And so, but they need some guidance about what do you want to see, what location, because that will determine then where they focus their attention to. So I would not want to set the team off to say, okay, plan an event at Flesher Field, and then it comes back to this body, and it's like, well, why isn't it here, and why isn't it there? So we do have the community hub idea coming as a part of the master plan. I know that there was conversation about focusing something like this here at Township Hall. It was also believed that utilizing the front of the building along M43 was not a safe option for a community event like this, but bringing it into Township Hall area and then having that build on the community hub, partnering with the library. Originally, I kind of envisioned it in Flesher Field because it's that big, beautiful, snowy area, but I think given the work and the vision that's laid out in the master plan, I mean, I'm not married to that idea, but, you know, there's ample parking there, there's, you know, so I'll pause and, what are, you know,
I would like to see it here, for the exact reasons we've discussed, like Sherry said, making this the central kind of community hub. So I think it would be a good start and maybe inspire us to not let that fall off of our radar. So thank you, Neil, for the idea. As always, you're always coming up with great ideas. So I won't steal Michael's thunder. He also has a really great idea to tie it into the story walk. So go ahead, Michael.
So I love the idea here. I think we need to start moving to a community hub, but I also know that it's 20 below zero right now, and if we needed to, we can move things inside instead of canceling them. And if it was at Fletcher Field, there would be a risk of canceling it. But a couple ideas that I had would be candle walk. You have very low risk of fire this time of year. Simple paper bag with sand in it and a candle can be a memory walk for those who don't find the holidays as happy as others, or it can just be a nice, peaceful walk along some of our trails. So it'd be an opportunity to get people out here. That's always a warm thing, having, you know, a heating station or, you know, the buckets with wood in them, metal can with wood and a fire, things like that. You can have marshmallow roasting for the kids. You know, it's low-cost things, and we have the infrastructure here. And should something go wrong, we have a fire department right here. But I do think that this should be, you know, the area that we focus on. And we have, I think, great facilities and backup capability should something go wrong.
And it should include hot chocolate, absolutely, I'm obsessed with that.
When you get time to read through all the notes, the different ideas of the committee, and I will add your comments to those as well. But again, before we set them off doing a bunch of work, I think we need to, this is a foundational kind of thing.
And since we have a reindeer farm here, I love that.
What's that?
I love the mention of the reindeer, since we have a reindeer farm right down the road. And that could be a way to tie in community groups and such.
So as I brought up last October, which you mentioned, the idea of having things here, I'm glad that there is some pursuit of that. One of the things that we talked about more recently is the area around the flagpole here and having that redone. And having a ceremony around July 4th with that project being redone because it's also America 250 celebration. And putting the two together doesn't have to be a big celebration for being Oshtemo, but because things like Portage and Kalamazoo are having parades and everything, and we don't need to get that involved with it. But that would be part of this area out here, and then again, you can come inside and use this area for refreshments or whatever, or in case of rain or whatever kind of thing. Also, as part of my proposal was finishing off this whole area, eliminating some of these trees that are invasive species and things like that, and then opening this area up to have visibility from West Main. And I guess I would disagree with the safety concern there, because if you want to have something, you've already got to walk non-motorized path there, and you could always, if you're having an event, put up snow fencing or something like that to keep kids or anybody from going too far. So if you were having a tree lighting ceremony or anything else, I think there's a way to make sure that it's safe and that we could still come in there. I like the ideas that are here. I guess I'm just going to come out and say it. I guess since I brought this all up in October, I kind of am a little bit insulted that I wasn't included in any of this meeting, on any of this discussion. I mean, everyone has noticed that and commented that I did this. I don't know why you wouldn't include the person who started a lot of this and has brought this whole idea and has talked about working on this whole area and having this done. That's, you know, something personal for me. I do keep bringing ideas. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep pushing forward. We have a meeting this Thursday, Building and Grounds, and hopefully my intention in talking with the maintenance guy was to bring up these things to get these projects going. So I'm all for events, but I think that somebody kind of missed the boat here by not inviting the people that are really the sponsors or pushers of this too. You want to be inclusive. This sounds more, oh, thanks Neil for the idea, we're going to do it our own way. And I don't think that's right.
I'm really sorry you feel that way. And there's only been 2 meetings, and I wanted to bring something before the board that was a little vetted, and you would be more than welcome. And if it makes, the flagpole is on the agenda for cemeteries, buildings, and grounds, so moving those things forward. So I can't take away that you weren't included in the organizing meetings, but you're certainly welcome to be included in that in the future.
I don't have strong opinions, but generally supportive, I guess, as far as like a location. I think I kind of share what Trustee Sikora shared and some of the other trustees about being here, of the 3 kind of proposed ideas. So, and finding a way to incorporate that desired change to the front of the building there, I think would make a lot of sense.
for process too, I want the board members to know that when ideas come out here at the board, we take those back to the staff level, kind of think through where things fit in with what we've got going on now. So, that's just the process right now. I don't want to bring you something that's not at least vetted to some capacity. So, again, Trustee Sikora, I'm sorry you feel that way. I've been advocating for a tree lighting ceremony for 2 years, and, I was just trying to get it off the ground, and so that is all the intent that was there. All right, I think we've given enough comment that,
I do want to follow up on that, though, just because I'm going to be trying to be nice. I know that you say that you want to take things back that we bring up, take them back to the staff and vet them before bringing them up. But the reason I sent the memo to the board and to the staff on those items, which I got feedback from people on and brought it to the board, was because my concern is things are brought up at the board and they seem to go to die when they get to that side of the building. And so I wanted to make it public so that we had buy-in at this level, that people would say whether they thought it was a good idea and we should pursue it. And if the board is saying, yes, we think this is a good idea, let's pursue it, why aren't we pursuing it? And that was why I handled things that way. And I thought that was giving guidance to the staff that we think that the board thinks this is a good idea. Let's continue to flesh it out and work on it and get the idea. So that's where I was going with those, and why my rationale of why I brought it up at the board level, to do that rather than just going to a committee. And that's why I've asked to be added to the board, the Building and Grounds Committee, because there's lots of things to do that people keep bringing up, but nobody seems to be doing them. But at least they're doing a lot of things, but just not some of the things that get brought up. So that was where my concern was coming from and why I brought it forward in that manner.
understood. There are multiple priorities that have to be managed, and not everything raises to the level of being able to put a plan into action, and it has to fit in with other priorities. So always, if you feel like something's gone and you're not seeing any feedback, just say so. I'm open to that. It doesn't have to come through, but if people are invested in the things that they care about, and I'm looking at the whole swath of issues and then trying to move items forward, things like addressing the flagpole couldn't fit in the maintenance department workload because Greg was understaffed for so long, and so there was conversations, he talked to the tree removal company, but on the list of priorities, we have to work together, I have to work together with the staff in order for them to, meet, obviously the goals that they've set out for their departments. And so, I understand you feel some kind of way, and if you want to continue to share your ideas, and if you want to do it through a memo that goes in a board packet, because that's the way that you feel is necessary, that's totally fine. I'm happy to accommodate that. It's really unfortunate to what I thought was some very positive forward motion is kind of where we're sitting right now. All right, any other comments specifically? So we're all coming, Township Hall is where you'd like us to focus. Okay, then I think that gives the committee some direction about building something out. What month is it? It's almost February. So hopefully we'll be able to do an event, a holiday event of some sort this year. I do have a question. I hadn't heard about and I think it's a really good idea, the flagpole, the America's 250th, 4th of July, did that come out of Friends of the Parks, or where did that come from? I hadn't heard that.
Well, it basically came from me. I don't know how else to put it. The Historical Society applied for a grant last year and got a grant to work on the Drake House from the America 250 MI for Michigan organization. And then they were going to apply for another one for this year, which they've done, just done, finished applying for it to do additional work on the Drake House. And where the conversation continued was the other day when State Representative
Yep, Long John.
was here. There was a person from Portage, I don't know whether they're on the city council or somewhere in Portage, they had come to this meeting, and they was asking whether the state was doing anything about celebrating America 250. And he said, because I don't hear anything, and we don't know anything about whatever. And I said, well, I don't know if you know, but there's an organization called BESS, and, you know, you can apply for grants, and there's information. The state does have some money, and there's also this other organization that is giving small grants out. And the person had said, you know, we're trying to get a parade. We've already booked the symphony, the Kalamazoo Symphony, and we're having these other things, and we're trying to coordinate with the city. And I just started thinking, well, what are we doing, you know? And wouldn't it be nice if we do this flagpole project? And we had I had talked about or suggested that we do it around July 4th, which seems like, hey, we can kind of have our own smaller version of a America 250. And so I talked with the maintenance director and the Parks Department, Parks Director, like, are we doing anything for this? Do we have anything in the plans? And it was, oh, no, we hadn't really thought about it. This would be perfect if we could put these together. So hopefully that's where it's gone. And that's why I'm kind of additionally pushing the flagpole project and the America 250 part. Because I think not a lot of people realize that this celebration is coming up because there's so many other things going on that has our attention.
For
This
sure.
is a big year.
For sure. Okay. Thanks for that context. So we'll pause on that, but we will add that to, got to figure out where to put that in the process, because that July 4th is coming up quicker than December, so. All right, very good. Next, for board information and discussion, you remember we awarded a contract for a board retreat for this year, and we had our first internal strategic planning meeting. I wondered, Kristen, if you wanted to share anything about that?
No, I thought it was a very fruitful meeting. The hour and a half went by pretty quickly, and Peter drove here in pretty much a blizzard condition from, I don't know. Plainwell. So that was nice for everybody to be in person, and I thought that we made a good start of kind of outlining what we're looking to accomplish, and it was helpful to see the example from the airport. I don't know if you guys flipped through that really well, but it helped to kind of provide a little bit of a, framework, versus us trying to make stuff up from scratch. So, no, I thought we made good headway.
Yeah, I think it was a very good discussion, introductory. Dusty, I think do you have anything you want to add?
No, but I think, yeah, I guess I do. No. I think that Peter, who we'll be working with, has a good grasp on our expectations for an end product and a strategic plan that will complement our other documents, like the organizational review or the master plan. That's the goal, is that this project would complement those other projects that are already happening. Yeah, that's it.
So I think next steps that the board should, is David, in coordination with Peter, will reach out to each of you for an interview time, so that'll be coming, I think, pretty soon. It's a phone interview. I'm not sure if it's Zoom or phone or in person. So that'll be the next step, and we will be probably sending out communication soon about setting some dates for the actual retreat. And so look for that information to come, I think, fairly soon as well. And there was one other thing, and just a reminder for the public, the strategic planning meeting or board retreat is a public meeting. So in the end, it's a public meeting and the public is welcome to attend this as well. It's official work of the board. So those dates will be published when they are selected, so that you'll be aware of that and you're welcome to attend if you want. It'll be, but it won't be, well, no, there will be an opportunity for public comment at that meeting as well, but it will come at the beginning of the meeting?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, the public comment will come at the top of the agenda for those. They're anticipated to be half-days, two different half-days is kind of what we're anticipating for that work. So that's kind of just the update. I wanted to let you know that that was moving forward as well. Happy to take any questions if there's other details people are interested in on this. No? Okay. All right. That moves us into, thanks for taking the time to talk through things, and I know sometimes doesn't go as planned, but I do think we got some great board feedback, and I appreciate that. That moves us to item 11, which is public comment time. So now is your time to come forward and address the board with any public comment that you might have.
Good evening. Neil is right. Things get presented to the board and it dies. The BESS energy ordinance was supposed to go to a committee involving different stakeholders. At the last meeting, Neil suggested that people quit complaining and join a committee. Looks like he was denied that option, just like the residents of Oshtemo Township. I'm in favor of the red box. That could be of use in the community. However, the agenda as posted states that the red box is $6,000, not $7,000 as presented tonight. This is another example of the lack of transparency. Quotes should be obtained, not an approximation of expenses presented to be voted on. Local businesses should be solicited to build this box. We have multiple businesses in the area that have this capability. I do question the accessibility of the red box, considering the hours the Township Hall is open, which would make it hard for working people to access the box. Transparency and accountability matter. The discussion with Neil tonight is a perfect example of how Sherry works behind the scenes and can't even be transparent with the own board, let alone residents. Things don't die.
I'm going to pause your
They
comment.
get
You
moved
may not
along in
make
comment.
salacious
Like the
comments.
Stucco Drive mixed-use
Personal.
project. The PC was not
Mr.
for
Snyder?
Kroger, and the gas station
Mr.
mixed-use.
Snyder, address the chair.
You've been asked to stop.
Thank you.
Personal attacks are not permitted.
Observations are. Facts are.
Is there anyone else here wishing to make public comment?
Hi there. I'm going to give you guys credit. I sat at a signed petition to recall you guys, and numerous people come there and said, I asked them to come to a board meeting. They said they came to board meetings and they were mad for the next 2 days. So you guys are doing a good job. You know, I can't believe the township, this place should be packed over your wages, your benefits, and not just sitting up there and not saying anything to us. We're paying your wages. And then the Freedom of Information Act, I got one of those. You want to get paid for paper, a copy thing? Us people bought those things. We shouldn't have to pay you guys. So, you're doing a good job, though. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, I'm just reviewing the public comments, stating that they should not be repetitive, slanderous, abusive, threatening, boisterous, or contrary to the orderly conduct of business. What was that gentleman's name? Do we know? No anyone? Yeah, what was his name? Mr. Schneider, in my opinion, was none of those things. I understand that you feel personally attacked, but I don't think he was any of those things that your own code of conduct is requesting, and I think it was extremely rude to not let him finish. You and yourselves violated your own code of conduct. It is true that when I come to these meetings, I get more and more frustrated and more angry about how things are handled. It is astounding to me that we have discrepancies like $6,000 and $7,000. Not a lot of money, I'm sure, because we have $65,000 in the thing, which isn't a ton of money. $1,000 is a lot of money. That's a lot of money from us that goes here to be used. Things like this matter. $65,000 matters. The fact that you could not let that man finish his 4-minute statement without getting offended is very frustrating and telling that you need to develop maybe a little bit of a thicker skin when you're handling this. He's not personally attacking you. He's making an observation from his personal experience, and that is okay. Unbelievable.
Welcome.
My name is Cassie Maurer. I'm a resident of Alamo Township. I'm retired, so I have the ability to come here and speak to you, and not a lot of people do. And especially in this weather, they're taking care of their children, doing all those things. So I feel like I represent a lot of people, working people, and parents and families who can't make it here. First of all, I am in favor of the red box. However, I found it interesting that there was no mention of how many boxes, what the boxes would cost each, and that any would be placed in pharmacies. I'm originally from California, and there were red boxes in every pharmacy, including grocery stores that had pharmacies. This seems to be the most optimal place to put these red boxes. And I did use them when my parents passed and had a lot of medications, and I needed to let go of them and get them in a safe place so they wouldn't go in the groundwater and so on and so forth. I think there's a lot of details missing from the red box project. And I hope that you are planning to suss those details out and let us know what those would be. The number of boxes, the cost of the boxes, and the exact location of the boxes. Secondly, about your board retreat. I am a former fashion designer and product developer for the North Face Vanity Fair Corporation, which is one of the biggest, maybe still the biggest apparel company in the world. We had all our retreats would center around training new technologies for process. New technologies, how do we have better processes so that things don't fall in the cracks between this office and the other office? How do you keep the ball rolling? And I think this would be an excellent opportunity for you on your retreat to get some training technology around processes. Talent development. And number 3, about the BESS. I am concerned about what is being called a community benefit for this, called $1.3 million in a community benefit. That does not sound like a community benefit to me. It sounds like a contingency plan for fallout from the program, from damages from the program. And since we don't even know what the damages would be that could happen, and assessment of all the other BES programs in the United States has not been put together, how can we know that $1.3 million could cover fallout contingencies? And please stop calling it a community benefit, because that is not what it is. It is your backup plan if something goes wrong, and it will. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to make public comment?
Hello, I'm Ann Hicks. I have to say, the reason we're here tonight is because the perfect example is what happened the last meeting when a item was added to the agenda last minute, and then you guys were attempting to pass an ordinance, but Dusty was the one who said, whoa, I want to move to public comment first, and she pushed for it, but everyone else like, let's move, I feel great about this. When you told us the previous meeting before that in December that you were putting a moratorium on it. And then we find out that the experts you guys are so excited to bring in, and I'm grateful that we had bad weather last week because I was out of state for meetings, was the two people who want to pay you, University of Michigan and Eagle. Those are not the experts we're talking about. We're not wanting you guys to use people who are going to sit here and puff us with false information so you guys can feel good about yourselves to do exactly what you want to do. Lastly, I know that Zach had a real problem with me stating that a community, no, you remember this, Zach, right? When you had to make a comment. This is not salacious. I want to give him the facts. I promise I won't be mean. So he said last meeting that he stopped after I left, because you guys are usually quiet after we sit down and then you wait for your comments, but he stopped and looked at Jody, let me ask you a question. Have we ever had an NDA? Is that even a thing? So Zach, the title of this, and by the way, Zach was kind of right, because this was about a data center, but I have a feeling we're getting close to that here ourselves. And so it was the development behind controversial data center in Howell Township withdrew its application on Monday afternoon, just hours after the scheduled hearing, because the board would not sign an NDA. So they didn't want to move forward. So I'm happy to send you the link, multiple links, different news sites if you'd like, or you can take that information and do your own research, because you look like a fool when you sit here and bash a resident when knowingly you have heard of NDAs before. Lord knows we have. It is what people go into to protect information. We want to work together. We want to have an area where we feel comfortable. I've always had great conversations with you, Sherry. You've calmed me down, and I really appreciate that. But I'm saying, as a whole, we want to look up here and think that we can look you in the eyes and feel that we are being heard. We don't. This is why we're here in a terrible weather. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm here as well in the terrible weather to make sure things go just right. And I will continue being here again and again, as I've said I would. Katie Meyer, Sky King 2, and Bonnie Castle Lake. Dr. Chapman, thank you. You've been very kind to me, and you've listened to my concerns. I want to thank you personally that because of you, I'm continuing my research, and I feel empowered. Thank you. Neil, I listened to you as well. I know I wasn't super kind, but when I get feisty, this German stubbornness comes out. My parents were both feisty, so it's really in me. But I joined the Environmental Concerns Committee, as you suggested. You said join a committee, and I did. I was invited. I can't vote because I'm an Oshtemo resident, but because of my degree and my history of the Department of Environmental Quality, they want me to join because the doctor said, you are more than qualified. So I'm going to continue my research for you guys. I'm going to continue to try my best up here, and I'm going to keep going. So I actually spoke with another person at Moss Landing, Dr. Chapman, the blood work. I'm trying to get the blood work studies. I stood up and I read verbatim for what felt like 8 years, all of the issues that the Moss residents had. Most of them were from children, and that's what gets me big time, because I'm a mama bear. But the blood work is hard to obtain. I tried Santa Clara, I tried another community who did the survey results. I got nowhere. So I'm speaking with the Musk Landing leadership team, and I'm going to try my best to learn more about this so that I can educate you all. I'm finally using my degree, and it feels good. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to make public comment this evening? No? Okay, then we will close public comment, and we will move to board member and committee updates. Trustee Colwell.
I'm going to try to keep this brief. It was frustrating for me to not have a voice at the last meeting due to the issues with the Zoom platform. That night, listening to deliberations, I was like screaming through my phone. It was difficult. I wanted to communicate with you guys my thoughts, and I was not able to do that. So I want to take this opportunity, and I have notes, so I hopefully don't ramble. But I want to talk to my fellow board members. This issue with BESS, and I think one of the public comments, residents brought this up about, do we do our research? I spent my prior career for 25 years doing thorough investigations, and I'm very proud of that. I used to teach the cadets at the police academy, do your job. Do your job thoroughly because people's lives are on the line. When you don't do your job thoroughly and you don't do a full investigation, a victim may not get justice. Somebody's right to be free may be taken away. They may go to jail or prison unjustly. So that's in my blood. I research things because that's what I've done, and I understand the importance of it. And I have done my research on these large BESS facilities, and I am absolutely against it, and I think we need to have this conversation. In my opinion, there are lives at stake here. Our lives, all of our lives are at stake here. If these things catch fire, which there's absolutely no guarantee that they can't, we are looking at not only potentially our natural resources, our drinking water, our food being contaminated for years, decades maybe to come, not to mention the health issues. I have children who live with their father half the time in Texas Township. I don't want a facility there. I think in this case, look at the Kalamazoo landfill situation, right? When that decision happened, and I'm not faulting the people that made that decision, they didn't have the information at that time. I don't believe there was even a body of regulation, EPA, I don't know if that even existed. They did not have the information. So they made that decision not knowing. We know, if you do the research like I have, you will know this is a life safety issue. These facilities are, is that the legacy we want to leave? We're go green Oshtemo. I understand, yes, we want green energy. We want to move away from, coal and fossil fuels, but this, in my opinion, is not the way to do it unless and until the developers can come up with a way to make these 100% safe. We need to stand strong with our moratorium, no WIO, no CREO, and we need to join with surrounding jurisdictions and share information and do it the right way. And I say that again because, for me personally, I'm a mama bear too, okay? My kids are in Texas Township. I don't want them around this at all, period. I don't want one. We need to stand together. We need to figure this out together. Not one case, not one developer that we know of, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, has gone above a local municipality and gone to the state. So why would we make a WIO or a CREO that gives them the impression that they could have their foot in the door? No, we need to give the impression that unless until you can make these facilities safe to our people and our natural resources, no, Absolutely not. And I have a family member who just went through this, not with the BESS facilities, but through this with the battery park that was coming. It's on the east side of the state. And my family member lived literally across the street. They had bought this beautiful property, like so much acreage, you know, and this huge data center. It was a data center that was supposed to go up. And, I mean, she was sick over it. My family was sick over it, but they basically ended up, the community came together. She told me, we talked about it over Christmas, she told me that within 3 hours, they had 10,000 people on a Facebook page signing petitions. And some of them were very high-priced lawyers that said, hey, we are invested as well and we will go pro bono, we'll fight this. And the board was going to allow the developer, and I didn't get into it with her, I don't know if that meant they were gonna make a WIO or a CREO, or whether they were just gonna say, yes, come on in, the doors are open. But the board was going to allow it, and the community stood up 10,000 plus strong and said no, and the developer pulled out. So we need to be sharing this type of information with the surrounding jurisdictions so that we can together figure out how to manage this. I really, really feel very, obviously strongly about it. Again, you can do your research, but I'm telling you, I did mine, and, you know, I'm not gonna pat myself on the back, but again, I'm very proud of particularly my final years as a detective and seeing justice served for people, making sure that I did a thorough job to make sure that I got the facts right. Because a lot of times a case would come to my desk and you would read, you'd have minimal information. I might have a victim statement. I'd be lucky if I had a suspect statement from the initial officer, the street officer that responded. My job was to follow up. I could have just, no, he interviewed, whatever, let it go. Or I could do my job. I want to bring people back in. I want to interview them. I want to talk to witnesses. I want to see what's on their text messages if that's at stake. I want to do a thorough job. So I also urge you guys to do your own research on this, because in my opinion and the research that I've done, I am absolutely in belief that we need to stand together and say, no, not here, not in the county, not in the township, period. And I will also say this, I've been working on my own piece, I guess, for lack of a better statement, and I really appreciate those of you. I feel like, aside from the last meeting prior to that, I feel like the temperature came down, right? And I really appreciate that, because I realized the temperature came back up today, and I was disheartened to see that, because I do believe that we need to learn to communicate better on both sides, right? And I will say to you guys as well, my fellow board members, I'm also very appreciative to you guys, because you guys have listened not only to us or to me, and you've also listened. I think we've done a great job as a board of doing better in that arena, and I think that we can hopefully continue to do even better with the communication, but it goes both ways. And the minute you start yelling at people or, you know, attacking them, people just shut down, and then they don't want to hear anything else that you have to say. And then it just becomes a us versus them, and there's nothing we, you know, one side could say. They just hate each other. So the headway we were making, I just hope that we can continue that way. And I also just needed to be heard, because I've had these thoughts through my head, you know, since that last meeting, and I know I haven't discussed it with any single one of you, but that's where I stand, and I don't want that to be our legacy. I don't want to roll the dice on that. I don't want to gamble on that. Oh, maybe it won't catch fire. Maybe, you know, it won't contaminate the groundwater for 20 years. I mean, I don't want to, my name will be an emphatic no on every vote regarding that. And I realize, one last thing, I realize there's a recall going on out there. I'm at peace with whatever happens. Whatever happens, I mean, honestly, that's where I'm trying to be mentally, just with every aspect of my life, and whatever happens, happens. I'm at peace with that. None of what I have said tonight or said at prior meetings that has no bearing on this. This is my personal belief and what I believe based on the research that I've done. Maybe in 5 years, 10 years, maybe these developers can reach down into their big, deep pockets and they can figure out a way to make these things safe, but we're not there yet. And we have to say no until they are there. And that's all.
Thanks, Trustee Cole. Good, thoughtful comments. Trustee Ford?
I had a police committee meeting yesterday. I was unable to attend because of work, so I have not had any committee updates, or have not had any committee meetings to provide updates for since the last meeting, so no comments tonight.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Chapman?
Thank you. My committee, the Planning Commission, unfortunately did not meet, but there are some things I wanted to bring up regarding that. I want to thank the Planning Director for releasing a draft, and I want to emphasize draft, of where we were putting down some ideas to paper so that we can start working on that. So I did send an email thanking her for that, but I do want to emphasize to everybody it is a draft. It's not an indication of where we are going, where we will go, but we can't go anywhere until we start a conversation, start putting things down, and start doing heavy research, like my colleague just mentioned. Part of that is we do have speakers who are coming in. The speakers that were listed for the meeting that got canceled due to the weather are only the beginning. We will be requesting other individuals, and I am still going to be pushing for community involvement and for a committee to come out of that. And I think that it needs to have some regional representation, because what happens here does not stay here. Every single drop of water in this county and others around us are all derived from groundwater. Every single drop. We have wellheads scattered about the county, but we know from the dump that that contamination does flow. We know how it flows and all that, but still I think we need to involve more than just us on this. Tonight there were some things that we talked about, but I want to make clear, even with the red box, a vote was not taken. I think those of you who know me, I'm persnickety about dollars, and sometimes annoy my fellow board members regarding dollars. But what this was just testing whether or not we supported the idea. We did not take a vote on it. Otherwise, the difference between dollars would have been hashed out here. I'm not going to approve something without knowing cost more than $1,000 range. The community benefit that's listed in the draft, this is a conversation. If something were to go forward, how much you charge a company. That helps if something were to go forward to offset costs such as training fire department, having emergency response, things like that. It is not paying or opening a door for them to come in. It is not a decision based on anything. It is a conversation point to say, hey, if something were to come in, let's say it came into an industrial area, not this community that we're currently speaking of, they have to help a community. And I would extend that to many other businesses. If you are, I don't know, a fireworks manufacturer, damn well bet there needs to be a conversation about educating our fire department on how to put out the component ingredients to fireworks. So it's just a starting point for communication, nothing else. And lastly, The comment about those experts, like I said, there will be additional experts coming. The Environmental Health Working Group for the county meets next month, so you'll get a report after that meeting. It is Wednesday, I believe, the 14th of February, and I'll continue to update with my committees as they happen. Those are the big ones. Don't think I had any, yes, I did have a couple other things. It's cold out. It's really cold out. And there are a lot of people in our community that you don't see that do not have optimal housing. I brought it up a couple times. And I hope people in the public are listening. We have a lot of churches in this community. We have a lot of businesses in this community. And it's time to open your doors. Churches, I don't know about your beliefs. I know how I was brought up. And damn well the church should open their doors and let people in when it's cold out. I did my offices. Mind you, my offices are in Muskegon, but anybody was allowed to be in any of my offices as long as we were open. No questions asked. And I hope our community can do the same. You may not see the people out there. They do a very good job at trying to fit in, so they're not subjected to anything, but be kind. If you're a member of a church, ask your church to open the door. Open our doors. Open this room up. Make sure that when, at least during business hours, people have somewhere to go. Shelters, they get filled up. Many shelters, when it's this cold, will open during the day, but even on regular nights, they do not open during the day, and the people have to go around the community. So just remember it's very cold, and we care about our pets. We say bring our pets in, but people ignore the people in cars and the people who are living in situations that aren't optimal. With that, I have nothing else.
Thank you, Trustee Chapman. Trustee Skor.
Thank you. Just want to report the Parks Committee met last Wednesday. We received updates on the Fruit Belt Rail Trail and the Drake Farmstead America 250 Michigan grant proposal that I mentioned earlier. The Parks Director also shared the dates for 3 events that are returning to our parks this year. Kazupi's Car Show will again be at Flesher Field on Sunday, May 17th. And it was an excellent turnout the last couple of years. And the Great Lakes Disc Golf has 2 events coming up at the Township Park. The disc golf course on February 28th and March 1st will be the Oh My Gosh Tomo tournament. Nice, yeah, they did a nice job. And then on June 21st, there will be the Summer Solstice Tournament. So a lot of participation, and put those on your calendar if you're interested, and I'm sure there'll be more information. So, and that's all I have for today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Clerk Farmer?
Thank you. So at our last meeting, I told the board that we would have a new agreement for early voting coming before us because Richland Township had left the agreement. Well, now I'm here to tell you, in an unexpected turn of events, Richland Township is back in the agreement.
Yay!
Yeah, and that'll be further cost savings for us. So that will not be coming back before the board. The original agreement will stand. And that's all.
That's good. I'm glad they jumped back in.
I am too.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, let's see. I start writing on everything and they get jumbled up. First, I want to remind all the members of this body, you should have received an email from Michigan Township Association. Well, you should receive multiple emails from Michigan Township Association, but their MTA conference is coming up in April, I believe, and it is the first time that I can remember that it does not conflict with our board meeting dates. So if you are interested in attending that conference, please reach out to myself or to David and we will help. It's been a number of years ago, but it is a good conference and a really great learning experience as far as what other communities are doing. Interesting to learn today, I learned from our assessor that the city of Portage has a moratorium on their agenda this evening for battery energy storage and data centers. So, I mean, the impact is certainly beyond the borders of Oshtemo. So at the supervisors meeting last week, we're lucky that many multiple governments, not just township governments, attend, but also cities and the county comes. And so I had an introductory conversation with the county board chair about them taking the lead on providing the platform for, because BESS, data centers, I hear less about solar and wind, but that this is really a countywide issue, and so perhaps they can be the conveners for all the communities to do a shared learning platform and experience. It's just an ask and an idea. There's nothing planned yet. I do know that how we work across, it just makes sense to me that we use the county government as the platform so that all of the participating, the villages, the other cities, the townships, can participate in that. So hopefully that will go somewhere. I want to announce formally, and it will be going out on our social media channels tomorrow, but we do have one vacancy on the Planning Commission that we will be accepting applications for. And we also have a vacancy on our, for the second alternate on our Zoning Board of Appeals. So the social media information will be going out tomorrow. The information, the applications are on the website, and the links will be included in that communication as well. So share that, and so if you're interested, or if you have questions on the application or the process, please do reach out on that. Wanted to go back, I made some notes. I want to touch on a few things. There was a question about the red med box and the number. I believe that the only reason the township is eligible to have a red med box is because we have a satellite sheriff station here. So there will be one box provided at this time. I'll ask the sheriff, but I think that that's correct. In Michigan, as a township, we're eligible because of the sheriff's presence. Thank you for the comments regarding some discussion for the board retreat. I took those notes on that feedback. I wanted to also share that a resident, I had a phone conversation with a resident who's also been heavily involved in his own work regarding BESS, but also encouraging extending that into data centers and solar and wind. I want to say that gentleman was, shared a very great page of links that he thought we should review, and so that we could incorporate those onto our website as part of the information we're providing. I forwarded those on to our planning director and our legal department to review those articles. If you have information that you want us to consider to add, please, I'd be more than happy to talk to you, and we can, take a look at those and see if they're not on the website, should they be on the township website, all that good stuff. So, Ms. Hicks, I know you're doing lots of that. I would be more than happy to talk to you if you want to just do a direct share that way. Let me look at if there's anything else for the knowledge of my fellow board members here. So a couple things, I will be bringing the conversation about our burn ordinance will be coming for a presentation for board education, and then some direction about where to go with that. The Kalamazoo Regional Water and Wastewater Commission is, I believe that meets next week, and there's also ongoing negotiations trying to get level sewer rates across the entire users of the system. We're making progress. The Buildings and Grounds Committee meets later this week. I will also be bringing, Buildings and Grounds is going to get a preview, but our new Media and Communications Director has also been working on a brand guide for the township for things that we can consider as far as, and this all kind of rolls in really nicely with having to make decisions about a new website by the end of the year, who we're going to go with, and then he really brings his professional expertise about how we can use best practices from a marketing strategy to make sure that we are carrying through a unified look throughout the township. So that also will be coming to the board. The HR Board Work Group met a couple times to discuss the changes presented and approved by you tonight on the job descriptions, and also we reviewed, and the annual review process was updated and was launched this week, so that process will be getting rolling. And the Kalamazoo County Event Center Assessment District and Authority Board. I am in conversations with, Discover Kalamazoo is leading that project. We certainly have talented staff here who are helping to inform. I will be inviting Discover Kalamazoo to, they've presented or will be presenting shortly, essentially what I would say is the draft site plan to the city and the county. And I will be asking Jane from Discover Kalamazoo, likely, hopefully at our next February meeting. We have a lot on that agenda already, but to hear from this board their comments regarding what's contained in that plan. So with that, it is 7:17, and we have exhausted our agenda, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.